Hello everyone, my name is PolishLynx. This is Ambre. We can continue the story right now. Twos began their strange routine. Tristan Malory woke up early in the morning to go to work, but before leaving and rushing in the fog, he had to take a few minutes of preparation to face the daily grind. A few brief minutes on the threshold of her door, gazing at the sleeping Ambre. Then he ran away through the streets covered by dead leaves, escaping far away, toward the mountains of paperwork, toward the baleful tower furnished by vast offices, where the slaves chained to their computers told away for the lord of that place. By the way, I think his house is pretty, well, maybe not big, but might be awesome. At least the living room looks nice. Anyway, that was what the little girl thought his working day looked like. As for her, she woke up easily around 9 AM, and her first reflex was to stretch and yawn in front of the cartoons with a bowl of cereals in hand. She followed her favorite heroine's adventure. All of them were beautiful and courageous. All of them were friends for life. Princesses with elegant superpowers, covered with light effects and flower petals. Rich and loved, they lived a perfect and enviable existence, especially the main character, who owned a bedroom very similar to Ambre's. It was colorful and filled with cute accessories. However, this room was only a part of a bigger palace furnished the same way. I would like to live in a castle as well. With her cute friends, the heroine hunted the villains, fell into traps, and called for help of her charming prince, an ideal and fantasy man who served her hand and food. Life seemed easy, full of laughs and adventures. All that was needed was to send back the nasty woman to her hiding place in the darkness. After all, she was nasty because she envied the young dazzling girls, nasty because she was old and disillusioned. Ambre would have loved to have magical powers, allowing her to make cute outfits appear, allowing her to have a stable where unicorns slept, allowing her to have a ballroom where she could organize extravagant parties based on beautiful dresses and cupcakes. It was always really disappointing for her to see the end of the episode. Of course, there were other programs, but the story with magical jewels was her favorite one. When the cartoons ended, she went to fill in her coloring books, daydreaming about being among those heroines, and then, at midday, she heated up the leftovers that Tristan had left and went back watching TV. New programs awaited her. Again she had her favorite, the one where a little girl owned a puppy that was different from the others. It was a red puppy who could sneak around. It was so very adorable, with its big eyes and its comical expressions, that made her melt. I would like to have a dog that cute. The meal passed quickly to the rhythm of opening songs that she knew by heart. This was usually the time when Tristan called to make sure everything was okay. She never missed the opportunity to tell him the content of the episodes of the day, how the heroine had defeated the evil witch with her magic mirror, how the little dog had helped her mistress at school, and so on. Relieved, he would start eating his sandwiches without appetite, sated more by the little girl's words than by his meal. She hung up, satisfied with her story. Then, after the last cartoon, turned off the television to rest in her big bed, surrounded by her stuffed toys. Usually, at this time she read a fairy tale. She loved to tell herself the story of Cinderella again and again, while sucking her teddy bear's ear. It was her favorite. Okay. People and life itself were nasty with Cinderella. Every day, she had to work hard. It was exhausting. She had to earn her every meal, and the nasty, ugly sisters believed themselves superior. Fortunately, the prince recognized the heroine's natural talent. She was pretty, and she was special. He brought her with him to his castle to live a golden existence, where she wouldn't have to work her fingers to the bone, where the money flowed freely, where Cinderella could have everything she wanted, including all the things that shone: accessories, dresses, cakes. Well, I guess it's good that she didn't read Being Beauteous. About... well, I won't tell you. Play it. There is something Ambre shouldn't read about. All she had to do fill time was to organize parties with her friends. The ugly sisters were not invited. They were too ugly, too rude, and they did not deserve such a paradise. Cinderella was happy. She loved in the manner of the only real or true love, the kind of love with gilding and glitter. For what more could she ask? Ambre fell asleep happy, hoping to meet her charming prince one day. She dreamed of the one who would only have eyes for her and would give her a room like the one the princess that she admired so much had. When she opened her eyes, the little girl rushed again in the living room to watch a tape, a Disney film. Depending on her mood, she chose one with animals or one with a couple who lived happily ever after. Often she watched Snow White or The Little Mermaid. Ambre loved the idea of a glass coffin containing a body which would not grow old despite death, but that would remain always young and beautiful, lying in wait for the magical keys that would free her of her prison, changing the course of her story and spiriting her away from the common hut of Praetarian dwarfs who, while friendly, were also rough. She loved it, just as she loved the idea of a beautiful and rebellious mermaid swinging through the oceans, looking for treasures, but sacrificing her freedom for the man in her life, about whom she had fantasized 1,000 times. The beautiful yet rebellious mermaid never listened to anyone, which reminded her of her own condition. She too was a sweet and capricious young woman. She played these movies in a loop day after day until snack time came. By then, tired of the idyllic images, she dug into the sweets that Tristan bought for her: cupcakes, colorful macarons, pastries, bread, and Nutella. Of course, she ate in front of the television. There were cartoons at this time as well. As it was getting late, she finally pushed off button to resume her fantasies elsewhere in her room, wielding her dolls with skill, perfectly depicting the course of her dreams. But the high point of each day was really when Tristan finally returned from work. She knew he was there from the creaking of the doors. She would rush into the living room, and all joyous she would throw herself at him, timidly at first, then with more enthusiasm over the weeks. She loved being carried on his shoulders to mimic the airplane and to fly through the flat until they crashed on the bed, laughing. Playing together was so much fun. With her friend, she could give life her characters more easily. Her favorites? Playing Mommy and Daddy. Okay. Ambre took the role of the mother and always took good care of the well-being of her child, a PVC doll with dead eyes supposed to embody an adorable little baby. She washed him, changed him, cuddled him, and gave him his bottle. Tristan had the role of the father. He had to read the newspaper in the kitchen while waiting for his wife to cook him a good meal, a role which hardly got him involved, but he was very well satisfied with that. Ambre took her task very seriously. She had the really draw, after all. Therefore she served her imaginary husband plastic fries and fruits with a bossy pout. He appreciated the gesture. However, the real meal was left to Tristan's charge once the game ended, a meal which the little girl took as an opportunity to tell the rest of her fabulous adventures. Tristan only had to listen to her with a smile on his face before he required her to go to the bathroom to wash up and brush her teeth. Ambre always grumbled at the bathroom's time, but her sexless mermaid Barbie quickly helped her to forget the inconvenience. More than once, she slyly waited for the 30-year-old man to come close enough for her to shoot him with a fish-shaped water gun. Innocent laughter would ensue. Then he tucked her into her big princess bed, while telling her a story, usually a fairy tale. In those moments, she blinked more and more slowly, looking up at him with a touching expression. It could make Tristan melt from cuteness. He was careful not to close the door all the way. The corridor's light had to hunt the monsters which could disturb Ambre's sleep. It was a specific request. She was fearful. The 30-year-old man had to protect her from ghosts at the slightest shout. That was his promise to her. Before going to sleep, Tristan Malory found some comfort in seeing her asleep. He hoped that her sleep would be inhabited with nice dreams, and that she wouldn't forget him, that she would think about him, in whatever way it may be. Could she even feel his presence, or how much he cared for her? Their schedule allowed the weekend to turn into more festive time. It was the time for outings. It was out of the question for Ambre to be bored, that she stayed indoor again. In the tight and bleak flat, she had to see some landscape. So they went to lively places, the pool, the amusement park, the ice rink, the cinema, restaurants. She had to try everything. Every week was a different universe. Running along at a brisk pace with her impeccably polished shoes, the little girl jumps from right to right while hanging on Tristan's arm. It warmed his heart to see her having innocent fun. In front of a smile that big, he could only imitate the little girl's good mood, despite himself. Often, when she asked for dessert, a pancake or an ice cream, he saw out of the corner of his eye that she had whipped cream on her face. The temptation to lick the dab of ice cream from the tip of her nose on the corner of her lips was nearly too much. Please don't. Such a thing, both childish and unhealthy, tickled his darkest thoughts, most pitiful thoughts. However hard he rejected them, his hands became sweaty and trembling, confessing his torment. But Ambre couldn't understand. Ambre was a little girl, only a little girl. The months flew by at breakneck speed. Tristan refused to admit it, but his young church was growing. He wanted to ignore the fact, to close his eyes, but the unstoppable passage of time had already done its work. Ambre was going through a strange crisis. That evening, she was particularly angry and proclaimed vigorously, "I don't want to be a child anymore." "How so?" "I want to become older." "But you have plenty of time for this, Ambre." "But I want to grow faster. I could do more things." The 30-year-old man sighed. He obviously didn't know how to answer such assertions. He had never had a child, and he was not very good at placating others regardless. Taken aback, he left the girl to pout in the living room while he went to take a long, relaxing shower. While he was soothing his horse in the rush of hot water, she was seething. "That's not fair. I wish I could be younger right now, if I only had a model. I wonder what Tristan's wife looked like, for example. I'm sure that she was kind. But he never wants to talk about her. He avoids the subject. Maybe he's hiding something?" Intrigued, Ambre took advantage of his absence to open a drawer she had never touched before. Inside was a big leather notebook. She was sure she had found a treasure, so she took it and opened it. It was a photo album. Spread on the pages were bright smiles and tender gestures. Nice girl. Wife, actually, his wife. Browsing the pictures, the little girl discovered her guardian, young and fresh, in the arms of a coquettish young lady. Dressed soberly and tastefully, she was strolling along the seashore with a shawl on her shoulders. Another picture showed her in a park holding an ice cream. But what caught her eyes was one specific picture that towered in the center of the page. Tristan, wearing a suit, was leading his lover out of a church with clumsy footsteps under a shower of flower petals. She looked so happy, so fulfilled, in her big and refined white dress, that Ambre was stupefied. Even more so because the bride looked exactly like her. "She's so pretty." "What are you looking at?" Tristan's sudden appearance made her jump so quickly that she dropped the forbidden object. The 30-year-old man's gaze darkened immediately. You searched through the closet to see what my wife looked like, didn't you? She answered in a shaky voice guiltily. Yeah, are you going to scold me? Of course not. I just would have preferred that you didn't see it. Why? Why don't you ever tell me about her? I want to know. He sighed, appearing upset as he looked into those begging eyes that he'd never been able to resist for long. Reluctantly, he sat down on the couch and told her how he had met the one he thought would be his lifelong partner, and related all that they had gone through together. Ambre listened with wide-eyed attention. She liked the story very much. Tristan seemed to get younger as he evoked the past, describing how head over heels for her he had been and how happy she made him. Their peaceful and ordinary everyday life was something the little girl envied. Caught up in detail, she couldn't help but pressure him. And then, what happened? Until the light shining in the man's green eyes brutally vanished. Then she got away. Where to? Far away, to a place I can't reach anymore. Every day I pray that she will somehow hear me, that she will wake up, that she will remember me. I don't know if she will ever emerge from that dream that's keeping her captive. Is she dead? Sometimes it feels like it, but no, she's alive. Just in a different world from mine. If I could have joined her, I would have sacrificed everything for her. And today, she's forgotten me. Forever. That's sad. Tristan sighed again, head down, as a heavy, crushing silence came between them. Ambre stared at the photo, bewitched by the woman's smile. Deep down in her heart, she had an odd thought. If I was older, I could replace Tristan's wife and he would... Didn't be sad anymore. Okay, let's end the episode with that weird thought. Hopefully it's not going where I think it's going. See you in the next episode.